Hello everyone, my name is Hubert and welcome to Teach Me channel. Today we'll be looking at GCSE Maths, percentage change and original value. So last time we were looking at some percentage questions and starting with simpler ones, working up to some more complicated ones. Whereas today we'll be looking at how to calculate percentage change when, for example, a price of an item changes. And you need to calculate by how much percent that price has changed, for example. Or we'll be looking also at original value, where a price of something changes, but we want to know the original price. So today's a good lesson when it comes to percentages, and without further ado, let's get started. So let's start with percentage change today. So here I wrote down a simple formula, so percentage change is equal to change divided by original times 100. So what is percentage change? Percentage change is simply when a value of something changes. That's probably the simplest way to explain it. When a value of something changes and we need to find a percentage of that particular change. So thinking about that, this equation makes sense because we have here percentage change. So we first need to calculate the change, the difference between the original and the sort of new value. And we divide that by the original value because we express percentage changes in terms of percentage change from the original value, which is why we are dividing by the original value. And then times 100 here is simply to just make it into percentage. So we'll get a decimal value and we multiply it by 100 to turn it into a percentage. So this is one of those things where I prefer to teach you guys by going through a question. So here's a question. So it goes like this. Baker buys all ingredients to make one bread for 50p. He then sells bread for £1 10p. What is his profit in terms of percentage? So essentially, the baker has all the ingredients for 50p, the flour, water, everything that he puts in the bread, that all comes down to 50p. And then he makes that bread and sells it for £1 10. But what is his profit? And the kicker here is that we need that profit in terms of percentage. So how do we do this? Well, we simply have to use this formula. And before we can use that formula, we need to identify all the different parts that will go into the formula. So, first of all, what is the original? Original, in this context, original is the 50p, the initial value, the initial price of the goods, essentially. So original is 50p. Now, because here we are working in pounds, we are just going to change this into pounds to make our life easier later on. So original, we're going to say is 0.5 pounds. Now, what is the change? What is the change? Well, the change is going to require the new value. So what is the new value? The new value is £1 10, as given here. So now we can work out the change. So what is the change? May I add, absolute change. Here we're not talking about percentages yet. This is the change that goes in here, the absolute change. So that will be £1 10 minus 0.5. So here, it will be 0.6 pounds, or in other words, 60p. So that's our change. So now what's left is just to plug these values in to this formula. So this is the absolute profit, but this formula will give us the percentage profit here. So we plug this into the formula. So change divided by original is 0.6 divided by 0.5, 0.6 divided by 0.5 times 100. And if you plug that into a calculator, that should give you a value of 120%. And that's the baker's percentage profit. Now, so what does that mean? That means that the baker got back 120% of what he got back 120% of what he originally spent in the profit. So he spent 50p, he got back £1.10. So he got 120% profit, clean profit. Now, so that's how we deal with percentage changes. Percentage changes always come down to this formula, guys. And that's probably the best way to deal with percentage changes. Now, the difficulty here is always about identifying the correct parts of the formula. So always pay attention to what is the original value, and what is the changed value, and therefore you need to calculate the change, which you then plug into the formula, and there you go, done. Now, how do we deal with original values? How do we deal with questions where, for example, a price of something changes, and now we need to know what was the original price? So we'll move on to that. Here we go. Okay, so here we have a question, because this is again another one of those where I prefer to explain things by just working through a question together. So, question. After a 20% discount, TV costs £208. What was the original price of that TV? Okay, so that's our question. And here we need to notice something. So after 20% of discount, the TV cost £200.08. So this value here, the £208, the £208 value, is equal to 80% of original value. And that's very important. That's the basis of our entire solution. So since we have a 20% discount, the original price is 100%. And the new price, the discounted price, is 80% of original. 100 minus 20 equals 80. So that's the important thing to notice. And now we need to find out what is the 1% of the original value. So if this is 80%, if we divide this, the 208, by 80, we will get the 1% of the original value, which will easily be able to help us in working out the 100% of the original value. So here what we are going to do is we divide 208 divided by 80, because that's the 80% of original. And what will that give us? That will give us £2.6. And that is 1% of original. Now, what's left is to figure out 100% of the original value. So if this is 1% of the original value, we simply have to multiply this by 100. So £2.6 multiplied by 100 will give us simply £260. And that is equal to 100%, 100% original. So that's our answer. Before the discount, the TV actually costed £260. So that's the sort of textbook way to solve this. And that's a good way to stick to at the beginning when you're still trying to work your things out, when you're still trying to learn this. But once you got this down, if you think about this, there is a very quick shortcut here. Very quick shortcut, and that's what I really like using here, especially when it comes to exams and I'm in a rush and I'm trying to solve the question quickly. So, if we think about this, £208 is the 80% of original value. Now, 80% forms is equal to 0.8 of 100%, right? 80% is equal to 0.8 of 100%. So basically 80% is equal to 0.8 in decimal form, and that's the relation of 80% to 100. So instead of bringing it all the way down to 1% of the original, only then to bring it all the way back up to 100% of original, we can simply do this much quicker. We can just divide 208 divide by 0.8 will give us the value for 1, for the 100. So we will simply take 208 pounds, divide it by 0.8, and then that will give us 260 pounds, guys. So that will give us the same answer. So here we skipped the step 2 and basically step 3. We just went from step 1 straight into the equation that will give us an answer. So this is a very good way to make this quick. And once you get hang of the original method, the first method, you can shoot straight for the shortcut, and that will help you guys out so much in the exams. And this is it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I really appreciate when you guys watch my videos. If you want to stay up to date on math, science, and some biomedical science videos, hit that subscribe button below. Don't be shy. I want you guys to do well. So if you have any questions about today's video or any other video for that matter, please shoot a question in comments. I will try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you very much for watching again, and see you next time.